Hello, everyone, and welcome to the November 3rd edition of the Service Binding Operator Weekly Developer Call. We have a few topics for today. Starting off, we have some discussion from Patrick. Patrick, you want to take it away?
Yeah, so we talked about this a couple weeks ago, the state of the CRDs after SBO is uninstalled. So this is more of an update to my findings. So for the first question, how do operators handle their CRDs at uninstall? Basically, from what I understood, other operators leave behind their CRDs after they're uninstalled. The reasoning for this is in case there are other actions that need to be taken care of. So it's mainly left up to the cluster admin to handle cleanup after they uninstall an operator. The next one is what happens to existing bindings when SBO is uninstalled. So if the operator is uninstalled, the existing bindings actually continue to work. The only way for them to stop working is if you remove the CRD, which ends up deleting all the instances. Is the CSV left after SBO is uninstalled? The CSV is actually removed when the operator is uninstalled. And then the last one, I couldn't actually test because I didn't have a way to upgrade the operator. But I'm assuming since if you uninstall SBO, it still leaves the connection behind, so it's still active. So in the course of an upgrade where SBO is being, I guess, basically stopped and then started back up with a newer version, the existing bindings will still continue to work. So what I'm assuming is next steps. I looked into the feature flags, which are used to disable features within the console or enable and disable features within the console. That's currently how the service binding features operate, is with a feature flag, but it's mapped to the CRDs. So once SBO is installed, the features become active because the service binding CRD is in the console now. So I went in and looked into CSVs and found out that I can use a CSV as a feature flag, and I can enable and disable features when SBO is installed and uninstalled. So I believe the next step would probably be reaching out to the console and seeing if that is an approach that they're wanting to take, and then go from there.
Well, Patrick, just to chime in here a little, right? I think we need to kind of get agreement on our side in terms of how we want this to behave first, right? I'm not sure that we've gotten that from this group yet. I'm hoping to hear some feedback from the rest of the team.
Yeah, so my perspective on the questions you've listed. So CSV removal is basically how operator on installation works, at least in OLM environments. I mean, yeah, you can always do things by hand and go delete our operator deployment, but just deleting the CSV, I think OLM takes care of just about everything that got made. Yeah, as for SBO upgrade or doing operator upgrades, I believe semantics are it won't unbind anything. It will reprocess bindings though, because the new operator deployment gets told of the existence of the existing bindings and it reprocesses them.
So it sounds like we're okay with this behavior?
I think so.
Okay. So yeah, I guess maybe what's next then, as Patrick's working on this, or at least investigating this. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess next steps, since we're definitely wanting to disable the features after SBO is uninstalled, we basically would have to go to the console and ask them if changing our feature flag from pointing at a CRD to the CSV is an appropriate solution in their eyes.
So my question is, how do other operators do this? Or how does the console get told of their own installation?
It doesn't. I went and looked at the other operators. They handle it the same way. They just point to the CRD. So they leave behind a bunch of features whenever an operator is uninstalled. My assumption is that they're thinking that when an admin or developer installs an operator, they plan on leaving that operator. So I guess they don't worry about disabling the features after that operator has been removed. Or they're assuming that the cluster admin is going to handle the deletion of the CRDs.
Okay. So yeah. Okay. So we might not. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, just something popped in my mind, and that is we are with this plugin assuming or requiring or supporting only SBO installed via OLM, right? In OpenShift, it's the plugin to the OpenShift console, right? So we because if you install SBO using the non-OLM approach, it wouldn't work. So I'm just checking if that is what we agreed on, right? If you install it with non-OLM way using the release.yaml, of course that's not productized version, but it is an SBO installed in OpenShift, right? So I'm just checking and making sure that we all realize that option. So if we are expecting that we only support SBO installed using the OLM. Is that correct? Do we have that requirement in mind?
I think.
You know, from the product perspective, that's not a supported way to install it, right? So if you just want to say that, okay, we only support productized version, or which is actually what I guess is the right way to do, right? In OpenShift.
My presumption is if you're on an OpenShift cluster, you're going to be installing your operators through its OLM interface. And you're going to prefer to use that versus I have a random release.yaml lying around somewhere. I'm going to deploy that. And I mean, yes, it's technically an SBO installation, but I'm not sure we should. It's worth spending a bunch of effort to try to support it when the default route should be using OLM.
Yeah, it's the same way as install it by Helm chart, right? It's the same approach. This is the community only stuff. So the plugin, so I'm not sure how supported the plugin would be if it is meant for the product only, or if it is meant to be the upstream as well. And if that is the case, then only when you install it as a bundle, it would be there, right? So because we have now 3 ways to install SBO: OLM, Helm chart, and release YAML, right? Only the OLM, it has CSV. So this is just a thing that just popped into my mind, and just want to make sure that the plugin would be that we are aware that it would only work with the OLM version of SBO, either upstream or downstream, doesn't matter.
I can take another look at it and see how it interacts with the other two installations, and then we can go from there.
We already established that the Helm chart is only for upstream, right? So it's not supported by the product from Red Hat.
Right.
So the release YAML is the same because it's pretty much the same thing, just packaged as a Helm chart. So and with the plugin, we need to take that into consideration.
Right.
Because all three versions technically work in OpenShift, right? The plugin is for OpenShift, that's clear. So we wouldn't try it on Minikube, for example, right? Of course. But again, we need to think about this and make a decision, or at least a statement that this is how it is, right?
Right.
I think my take would be we could kind of treat this like software features in the sense that we should prioritize getting this working with OLM first, because that's the route I presume that OpenShift users will be using SBO with. The other routes for installing it, maybe we could, if there's enough demand for it, and if we get people asking for it, we can always revisit and implement at a later date. But for now, I think we should operate under the presumption that OpenShift users are going to be installing via OLM. I don't know. Let me know. Is
Yeah,
that
I
sensible?
think
Makes
Yeah, I
sense.
think it's a safe assumption to assume that in the product everyone is using OLM operators. So
I agree.
All right. Does that kind of answer your question, Patrick?
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Do we need to create a story or a task to track this work, or whatever needs to be done or investigated?
Good question. Patrick, how are we currently tracking this work?
I was using a task. It was app services 1223.
Scroll to 2, 3. Okay. I would say you've fulfilled the requirements of this investigation. Further work should probably be captured in its own story.
Right.
That's kind of what I would presume to be the way forward. So we should probably go write up a story for that and do our usual processes on it.
Sounds good.
All right. Any other topics for today? If it's okay to move on, Patrick.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Seeing none.
and also we don't have the issues or anything to trash also, I believe, right?
No.
No issues.
Dave-
No.
Dave is our current maintainer for that, and he's not here this week. Although, from what I understand, I don't think there were any issues posted on GitHub in the last week or so. You can check just to be sure. Yeah, no. In a similar vein, I don't recall having any issues posted by our Jira page. So I don't think there's a whole lot for us to address on that front this week. All right. If there are no other topics, then I think we're good to call this a meeting.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.